Adanna looked stunning in her ivory lace dress, her heart racing with excitement and anxiety. The village of Umunze was alive with celebration as she and Chike stood before the altar, their hands joined in matrimony. The sun bathed the ceremony in a golden glow, while the rhythmic beats of talking drums echoed in the background. Her gaze flickered to her father-in-law, Chief Okeke, who stood tall and proud, a man whose presence commanded respect. His eyes met hers, and for a moment there was something unspoken between them, something she couldn't quite place. Adanna's marriage to Chike was happy, but as the months passed, she began to notice his growing detachment. He spent long hours at work, leaving her alone in their large echoing house. Chief Okeke, on the other hand, was a constant presence. He would visit regularly, bringing gifts and spending time with her, offering advice on how to navigate life as a wife. She found herself confiding in him more and more, appreciating his wisdom and the comfort he provided. One evening, as they sat on the veranda overlooking the lush green landscape, their hands brushed, and she felt a spark that made her heart skip a beat. The bond between Adanna and Chief Okeke grew stronger with each passing day. He was everything Chike wasn't: attentive, caring, and understanding. They began spending more time together, going for walks in the village, visiting the local market, and attending traditional festivals. The villagers whispered, but Adanna brushed off their gossip. She told herself that their relationship was purely platonic, though deep down she knew it was something more. One day, during a visit to Chief Okeke's home, he took her hand and gently kissed it. The gesture was simple, but it unleashed a torrent of emotions within her that she could no longer deny. Adanna's guilt weighed heavily on her, but the pull towards Chief Okeke was undeniable. One night, after a heated argument with Chike about his continued absence, she fled to Chief Okeke's house. She found him sitting alone, drinking palm wine by the flickering light of an oil lamp. Tears streaming down her face, she poured out her heart, confessing her feelings for him and the loneliness she felt in her marriage. Chief Okeke listened silently, his face a mask of concern. Then, in a moment of weakness, he pulled her into his arms and kissed her. It was a kiss filled with passion and unspoken desire, sealing the fate of their forbidden relationship. Weeks turned into months, and Adanna found herself living a double life. Her love for Chief Okeke grew stronger, while her marriage to Chike deteriorated. She knew she had to make a choice, but the thought of leaving Chike, the man she had once loved, was terrifying. One evening, as she sat alone in her bedroom, she received a text from Chief Okeke. "Meet me at our place." Adanna knew what he meant. The small hidden house on the outskirts of the village, where they had shared their most intimate moments. She realized then that she couldn't keep living a lie. She packed a small bag, left a note for Chike, and headed out in the night, her heart heavy but resolute. The next morning, the village was in uproar. Chike had found Adanna's note and immediately knew where she had gone. He stormed into Chief Okeke's house, fury blazing in his eyes. Adanna stood behind Chief Okeke, her heart pounding as the two men faced off. Chike demanded an explanation, his voice shaking with anger and hurt. Chief Okeke remained calm, his deep voice steady as he confessed his love for Adanna. The revelation stunned Chike, who couldn't believe his own father had betrayed him. A tense silence fell over the room, broken only by the sound of Adanna's quiet sobs. Chike's face twisted in pain as he turned and walked out, leaving them behind. Adanna and Chief Okeke's relationship became the talk of Umunze. The scandal rocked the village, dividing the community. Some were sympathetic, understanding the complexities of love and human emotion, while others condemned them for breaking sacred familial bonds. Chike left the village, unable to bear the shame and betrayal. Adanna tried to find solace in her new life with Chief Okeke, but the weight of their actions hung over them like a dark cloud. The love they had fought so hard for was now tainted by guilt and regret. They often found themselves sitting in silence, the joy they once shared replaced by an unspoken sadness. Months passed, and Adanna's heart grew weary. The life she had chosen was not what she had imagined. The villagers' whispers never stopped, and the love she shared with Chief Okeke was now overshadowed by the pain they had caused. One day, as they sat together in their hidden house, she looked into his eyes and realized she couldn't continue living this way. She loved him, but the cost had been too great. With tears in her eyes, she told Chief Okeke that she had to leave. He understood, his own heart breaking at her words, but he knew it was the right thing to do. They shared one last lingering kiss before she walked away, leaving behind the life they had built together. Adanna's return to Umunze was met with mixed reactions. The once vibrant and lively woman now moved with a quiet grace, her face etched with the lessons of love and loss. She sought refuge in her family home, where her mother welcomed her with open arms, but asked no questions. The village was abuzz with her return, but Adanna kept to herself, spending her days in reflection. The memories of her time with Chief Okeke haunted her, but she knew she had made the right choice. She found solace in the daily routines of village life, slowly rebuilding the pieces of her heart that had been shattered. One afternoon, as Adanna walked through the village market, she unexpectedly ran into Chike. He looked different, older, more worn, with a sadness in his eyes that hadn't been there before. The sight of him caused her heart to ache, a reminder of the pain they had both endured. They stood in silence for a moment, the bustling market fading into the background. Finally, Chike spoke, his voice soft and devoid of the anger that had once consumed him. He told her that he had found peace, though it had taken time, and that he no longer harbored resentment. Adanna felt a weight lift from her shoulders as they talked, their conversation a tentative first step towards healing the wounds of their past. News of Adanna's return reached Chief Okeke, who had stayed away from Umunze out of respect for her need to heal. One day, however, he decided to visit her, unable to resist the pull of the love they had once shared. He arrived at her family home, where they sat together in the garden, the vibrant flowers and chirping birds contrasting with the tension in the air. Chief Okeke apologized for everything, his voice filled with regret. Adanna listened, her heart heavy with emotions. She forgave him, knowing that they had both been victims of their own desires. But she made it clear that she needed to move on to find her own path. Chief Okeke, with tears in his eyes, nodded in understanding, knowing that this would likely be the last time they would ever meet. With the past finally behind her, Adanna focused on the future. She threw herself into community work, helping to organize local events and support initiatives for women and children in the village. She found purpose in giving back, and slowly she began to rediscover her joy. The villagers who had once whispered about her now saw her in a new light, as a woman who had made mistakes but had the strength to rebuild her life. Adanna's resilience inspired others, and she became a respected figure in the community, known for her kindness, and wisdom. Though the scars of her past remained, she finally found peace within herself. Time passed, and Adanna's heart began to heal. She had closed the chapter on her past, but she hadn't closed herself off to love. One day, during a festival in the village, she met Nnamdi, a kind and gentle man who had recently moved to Umunze. He was different from anyone she had ever known. Patient, understanding, and deeply caring. They began to spend time together, and Adanna found herself smiling again, the pain of her past slowly fading away. Nnamdi wasn't without his own scars, and together they helped each other heal. For the first time in a long time, Adanna felt the stirrings of love in her heart, a love that was pure and unburdened by the mistakes of the past. As the months turned into years, Adanna and Nnamdi's relationship blossomed into something beautiful. They eventually got married in a small, intimate ceremony, surrounded by close friends and family. Chike even sent his blessings from afar, a sign that the wounds of the past had finally healed. Adanna's new life was simple, but filled with love and contentment. One day, as she sat with Nnamdi on their veranda, watching the sun set over the village, she reflected on her journey. The pain, the mistakes, the love. It had all shaped her into the woman she was today. And though she would never forget her past, she was finally at peace, ready to embrace whatever the future held.